Hello there, I'm Nu-Trix, and today with me we'll explore VS2. VS2 is not a synthesizer, but it's, in a way it is, but it's not audio. It's a video synthesizer. It's a visual synthesizer. It will react to MIDI and audio and create visuals for you to play. So it's something that I think most musicians want to have because they want to create, space, stories, imagery that goes with their songs. The videos we'll use here can generate a lot of flashy lights. So if you're sensitive to flash of lights, you got to be careful with this video. I already made a video about VS, the original, years ago, and at the time it was just a breath of fresh air to get a software that was easy to program, and you had all these notion of MIDI. You could react to the MIDI coming in real time. So it means, of course, you can use it as a tool to create a video after the song is finished, and it works, but also you can use it while you play live and in a jam. So it doesn't have to be prepared if you want to. Now this is VS2. There's new features, new options, and I'm going to show you how to do this video. That's for the video. It's a short 8-bar beat with a lot of things happening. Now, to understand, the software VS2 can respond to MIDI or audio or both. So I'm using the Drumlogue because it's easy to demo this with it. And the Drumlogue has 4 output plus the stereo. So actually right now I'm using 6 different outputs. The 1 and 2, 3 and 4 are sending separate sounds, and the stereo are sending the rest of it. So I'm sending 4 individual sounds plus a stereo mix of the rest of the sounds. And all of that appears in my mixer, which is also a sound interface, an audio interface. And I can see that in VS2 where I go here about the sources. I've got 16 different individual sources or 8 stereo sources for sound. So this is one way to control it, and that's really cool. Then you have also MIDI, the channel and the way it's going to respond. So let's just dive in. I'll explain to you how I did this video, and I hope it's going to inspire you make your own stuff. So first of all, let's go in and create a new one. I'm going to plus a new one. So the interface is fairly simple. You have all your different layers, 8 layers plus the background, and for each of them, when you click on it, the mixer window, basically where you are, the row that is just over it will change depending on the type of item you load into that track, let's say. And what you have on the side here is for that one. Okay, so the matrix, it's a layer 5, in this case, layer 5 properties. Now, on top of this layer 5 properties, or specific to that layer, you have the modulation sources, which are the same for everybody. So you've got EG2 and you've got EG1 and 2 here. So we got 2 of them, and you can control them. LFO, you have 4 LFOs here. And AM is audio coming in. So we've got 4 different audio coming in. And for each of them, you can select different plans. So this is general for everything in the synthesizer, in the VS software. But you also have an input here that is per layer. So both of them can be used, and it's going to be happening in the matrix. We'll come back to that just later after. And just for so you know, if you press play, right away you see here the MIDI coming in. And let's say we go 15, 16, you see the signal coming in. And I would say that this is really interesting when you start using this with a stereo track. And there's different ways to use the software, but in my case, I've got the hardware with me, so it's easy to separate the tracks. It's not always the case. Maybe you have a mix of a stereo mix. You could still do this and control with audio, because there's two ways to control audio. You either have by gate. So basically, if the volume goes over a certain level, like here, if I go like this, I'm gonna bring back all the sound to. I'm going to go back to Shift Global, and I'm going to demute all of these I'm going to bring the volume down for me. If I press play now. So you see, if you work this way, right now it's really just a volume that's going to be triggering something when a volume goes over a certain volume. So you're just controlling the threshold. And you decide how long is the attack's going to be fast, is the release going to be long. But you can also go into gate, and then you can say it's just going to be these frequencies going to trigger something. Or no, it's going to be these. But now it's not going to do anything because the volume, the threshold's too high. So I'm going to bring that down. So now the hi-hats, let's say, are just, so you can decide the spectrum of frequency where it's actually going to be triggering the reaction. So you still can use this, let's say 4 of them, and separate bass or kick, snare, hi-hat, whatever the section, so it triggers different things in the song. It's not per sound, but it's per frequency range if you want. So this is a cool way to use this, even if we have a stereo track. Now, there's also another approach that is interesting. If you already have your song finished, you can load here audio and MIDI file, and they will play. I mean, you can, not using the hardware, you can just go here and load. Let's say I'm gonna have Acid Techno and Acid Techno, the MIDI file, the 2 of them. I'm gonna load this one because they both have the same name. You've got the FLAC, the audio, and the MIDI. So when you press play, you get the MIDI information playing here, and I've got the audio playing, which is stereo track, but it could be a multi-track. There's more than one way to do this. Then if you're doing something really specific, you might want to create a MIDI file. Let's say you have, like I do a lot of music on the hardware, but also do it using my iPad as a sequencer. So I could just use the iPad playing the sequence in real time, sending it to this, and then I could even copy tracks and modify them so they control a specific aspect of the image following the track, but modify the track so it is controlling the VS2 perfectly. Or you spend time in the VS2 to change the way it reacts to the sound, or the signal coming in. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of these because I already have my audio and MIDI coming from the Drumlogue. But you understand there's different ways to start this. But when you have the signal coming in, then you start having fun. So let's say we're going to look at the background first. And I'm going to pick an image, pictures. I'm going to take the one I already had. I'm going to do the same thing. So this one, just kind of a concrete wall. Okay, so that's it. So every visual element that you load in, depending on the type of element, it has its own controls. So in this case of image, you've got scale, where you can big or small. You can rotate it. You get X, and you get Y. You get fill mode. So you want to crop it or fill it. You can double tap to put it to 0. I'm going to put it back to 0. I'm going to fill it. And these NA are just not used at all because they're not, it has nothing to do with this one. You have trigger. You can say what is triggering the image. Okay, so this one, what I'll do, I'm not going to use the MIDI for this one. I'll use the audio. Here, I can say, I want to use input number 5. That's my kick. gain over this. Threshold lower. Okay, so that's my kick, my low kick. I'm gonna go back here. I'm actually using, you see, this one here is reacting. So I'm gonna, you see that this one is reacting. So what I'll do, I'm gonna go scale here. The release longer. Might be too much. So now I have this kick coming in for this. Perfect. Now let's say I want to have my snare. So snare, I'm going to go in and I'm going to load. Now there's a lot of things. If you look at factory, this is all the kind of these are not videos. These are actual generators. Like if I load one here, you see you get the layers, you get the form. You can change the form of it. Wait a sec. You see, these are kind of real-time vector generators. The amount of pedals, the size of it, layers of it. So then the color has some logic to use these colors, you know, because now you get control over that. So let's say I'm going to use something that will appear only when the snare hits. I'm going to go back here, and instead of using these, I'm going to go into videos. And again, there's factory videos, and there's also, I've got extra patches here. So the extra patches, you got these cool things also you can use. So when I look at these, I have ideas for my next videos right away. These are just like really cool. Let's say I'm gonna have this. I know it's kind of weird, but it's gonna be good for me. So what I'll do here, my snare is on 2, so I'm gonna look for channel 2 to trigger this. But what I'll do, because it's a video, there's a video loop, I'm gonna turn off the loop. And so I wanna start this by MIDI. So this will be played. Why is it changing this one? Okay, I see this is clicking because it's this one that is playing. Now, this might be too long. This might be too big. I'm gonna actually play with a scale. I want this to be smaller. And the length of it, I'm gonna bring that shorter, the end. Okay, so that's going to be, and again, I can play with this and say self add, overlay, if I go screen, lighten, I can actually bring that bigger now. Keep it like that. So this is when the snare is happening. Okay, next one. I'm gonna go with the kick. So my kick does not appear all the time. I could use, let's say this one here. glowing circle. We'll take that one. Okay, so I'm going to take input number 3 here. Put it like this. And this, I'm going to go back here and say, this one here, on the alpha, I can bring the alpha down. So what I do, I'm using input number 3, which is audio coming in. I've got the audio coming in, and I'm going to use audio number 1, like this one here. Audio modulation, and alpha is the presence, if you want, of that layer. So I've put it to, I don't want to see it, but when it plays, I'm just going to put it under, and then I can go back here and say, well, I would like it to be blue, or and I still can do something like, I want to subtract. I want to reverse and subtract. Oh, maybe not that bad. So now if I press play, I have no kick right now. That's pretty cool. Now I want to do something with the modern, the speech. Speech is actually coming in. I think it's this one. Now I'm going to use audio for that because this one, it's going to be one of the new things that they have is a shader. So different ways to show the frequency of what's coming in. I'm going to try. I'm always trying new ones because I don't know all of them. I'm going to try bar spectrum 5. So for it to respond, I need to say, well, I'm going to use the player. Which input am I using? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Input number 6. Now you've got stuff like height, width, you have bar count, how many bars you have. I'm going to change the color to, this is almost like a cloud, but you can say, no, I want less bars. I want to see them. You can group them together so they touch each other, which is also pretty cool. Actually, this is actually pretty nice. And if you play with something like screen or lighten, subtract, it's actually pretty cool. So there's different ways to do it. You can actually separate also that with the bar count and the spacing. You see the spacing between all of them now. I like this one like that. So now if I press play, oh, that's a cool one too. I have to find ways to use this. This is so nice, but it takes too much. Now the last one I'm gonna use is this one here. So this one I'm gonna use something that is pretty cool, like this one. Okay, look at this. These are chords. These are just like strings moving. You can have that move as you want in the flow of the song. I'm gonna use it to recreate the note playing. So this, the user. Okay, I'm gonna shift this. That's the one I want to use. So what I'll do, I'm gonna go into taking this one, I'm gonna rotate this, whatever set, let's say like this, and I don't want it to spread. I want it to look like one. I'm gonna put 0. I want it to look like one cable. It can move, it's okay. I can slow it down so it doesn't move too much, or I can move it a little bit. Yeah, you can have the glow. Yeah, that's cool. Elements, I want it to be smaller. Yeah, smaller like that. That's good. So what I'll do is that, you see this, you've got keyboard coming in for this one. This one's on channel 12, if I'm not mistaken. I'm mistaken. 11. Okay, you see this changes. So I'll take the keyboard and I'll play with the offset. So the keyboard is the key tracking. It's following the keys. And I can play also velocity to control, not this one, sorry. Velocity could be controlling the glow. I'm going to offset this way so we see it more. And then again, I can go in and change the color. In my case, I used a dark purple. And if I take off the solo, I could also come in and say this is going to be a overlay. Subtract. So this is what this is doing. This is really cool. You can even put text in it, and you can have the text moving. So there's different ways to use this. So this is what I'm showing you, is how to use it even for a show, to have this specific one load in as you play. Now, if you keep always the same logic of having the kick, snare, and the hi-hat on the same MIDI track and audio output, as you move between your presets, it will change in real time. I mean, it's easy to just pick the next one. I'm gonna go in and keep in mind, you can have this on a second screen. You can say at the top here, I want this on the second screen, so you're projecting somewhere else as you're changing in real time what's happening on the control panel. But let's just for the fun, I'll show you what else they have. So this is one way you can just type your name, the song, and create a video. And again, you can move all of this in real time, and you can do that for your online presences if you want, you know. These are the example for that. I could spend hours, I mean, I did spend hours just going through the presets and looking at everything, and for every one of them, I could go in and just add new control, and what they already prepared is already very usable, and then it just triggers ideas of how else you can use it. It's just really a cool visual synthesizer. So if you're into adding the visual aspect to your sound, but be able to control it like a synth, VS2 is for you. Stay safe, make more music and videos. See you soon. Cheers.